Joining us now is Terry Lundgren, former Macy's chairman and CEO. Terry, always good to get your insight. So now we've heard from all the major essential retailers, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's. They all had incredible sales. They all had explosive digital sales. Of all of those, which strategy or management team do you like the best? Do you think is doing the best job?
Well, first of all, Sarah, isn't it good to be essential? Because their competition, many of their competitors have been closed for several months, and so they have just put the the pedal down and accelerated any momentum that they had in the past and aggressively pushed forward. Yeah, everybody you just mentioned, I own actually, and I have to say that the standouts to me were clearly, have to say, Target. Of all of them, and I think Lowe's surprised me on the upside as well. I think those two are doing what the other guys, Walmart and Home Depot, have been doing for a long time, and that is executing on a broad basis, digitally as well as the in-store shopping experience. So, but I was blown away by Target's numbers in particular.
A lot of warnings on back to school, and some commentary from Brian Cornell. I also heard it from Michelle Goss during a conversation yesterday at Kohl's that the back to school will come later, and that they'll keep the inventories, the backpacks and the clothing and the supplies, because it'll happen. What do you think is actually going to happen with back to school? Is that realistic?
Well, it's hard to predict. We just got news from Notre Dame, I think, the last day or so, and so more and more of these schools are delaying the physical return of students to campus, and of course, fashion apparel in particular, Sarah, is all about events, and an event is going back to school, an event is going out on date night, an event is going to a concert. None of those appear to be happening, at least not consistently. So that's going to be a definite issue. Backpacks, I think you can definitely wait on those and hold them in your inventory for a longer period of time. The fashion, of course, changes over time, and so that's going to be a little bit more complicated to hold out for another date later on in the season.
You mentioned, Terry, how important it's proven to be to have been considered or classed as essential. Do you feel for some of the department stores, and you mentioned you owned those 4 companies that have reported this week, which of the department stores do you own?
Well, I own Macy's.
Just Macy's. Just Macy's.
Actually,
are there some opportunities?
Well, I didn't own any retailer for as long as I was a CEO, both at Neiman Marcus and when I was CEO of Federated Macy's. I just out of principle, I didn't own any retailer. And the minute that shortly after I became executive chairman and moved away from the CEO title 3 years ago, I bought Home Depot and Walmart. Those are the only 2 retailers that I bought. And then shortly after that, I bought Target. And I'm a relative newcomer to the Lowe's bandwagon here, but I've owned the other guys for some time, and have been really pleased with the management and really pleased with how they're executing an omni-channel strategy. I saw Walmart doing that first. When they bought Jet.com and brought in Mark Lowry, they really changed the way that company was doing business. I give Doug McMillan a lot of credit and Mark Lowry a ton of credit for what they've done to transform the company. I think Target is all over that subject now. I mean, Target is firing on every cylinder, and it's exciting to watch.
But this is great insight, Terry, into your thinking and when you've pulled the trigger, I guess, on some of these companies. I mean, more broadly for the department stores, do you think some of them are too cheap at this moment, or are they facing real threats to their future?
Well, I think they'll prove to be cheap later on. But right now, I think the fact of the matter is it's going to take a while for consumers to feel confident about returning to an enclosed environment to do shopping for discretionary purchases. So I think it's going to take some time for them to come back. But to me, there's going to be winners and losers in this other category. I hate to call them non-essential. It's just a word that I don't really like to refer to my old company. But these companies that have been closed down for the majority of the last 2 quarters, they eventually consumers are going to come back to those businesses. And when they do, there's going to be winners and losers. Some just aren't going to make it. The ones with the difficult balance sheet going into to COVID-19, they're just not going to come out. Or if they come out, they're going to be limping out of it, and they're not going to be investing into the omni-channel consumer that we've seen at Walmart, Target, now Home Depot, and Lowe's as well.
There's another group, Terry, that I really wanted to ask you about, and that is the commercial real estate players behind some of these department stores and shopping centers. Just today, CBL entered into a restructuring agreement, some sort of deal with its debt holders. What's the outlook for these companies that own the shopping centers, or Simon Property, which is trying to buy some of these retailers out of bankruptcy? Would you be investing there or optimistic at all about the future of these companies?
You know, Sarah, it's really been an interesting turn of events, because these REITs and these Simon, you mentioned particularly, I think is just an extraordinarily good operator, as is Brookfield and some of the others, were a great investment last year. And as you go into this period of time now, the shakeout is happening, just like so many things happening during the last several months. They're happening faster. And so we all know that America's overstored. There's too much physical retail in America that I've been saying this for 5 years. And Macy's actually took a position to make some aggressive changes in that regard and reducing their number of stores. That's got to continue to happen across the entire industry. Specialty stores, malls, and mall-based anchors. It's got to happen. It's going to happen faster than I think anybody was expecting, and it's going to happen involuntarily in some cases, because where some were taking the offense, I think now people are going to say, hey, I've got an opportunity right in front of me. It's here right now. I can either reopen the store or keep it closed. And I think a lot are going to choose to keep them closed and get the base right, because with the online business growing to the degree that it has, obviously it's not growing the total pie. It's just moving it from one slice to another.